Hey friends, welcome back to Melody's Movie Monday Review. Today we are going to be talking about a favorite of mine that I think is severely underrated. It is called Hush, and it came out in 2016. It is a Mike Flanagan film, and I am a big fan of his work. One of my favorite things that he's made so far is The Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. I really like the idea of ghost stories. I think it's really fun, and I feel like with that he was able to put a spin on it to make it a lot more exciting, because I think that those kind of have a tendency to drift off into boring territory, and he just has a way about making something much more interesting. He has a really good way to keep your attention, which for me, I lose my attention very easily, so it's appreciated. I highly recommend his work. But this is one of, I don't want to say this is one of his first movies. This is one of his first movies that I had ever seen. It is, I believe, just a Netflix original. I could be wrong about that, but it is on Netflix. It is a story that we follow a woman. She is an author. She's a famous author, I think, to an extent, it seems like, but she is deaf. So, like completely deaf. And she decides that she's going to move out to this it's a house. It's like an actual house, not a cabin, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. She does have neighbors, but it's not very close. I mean, it's probably a good half a mile walk or something in between houses. So there are people around, but if there's an emergency of some sort, it's gonna take a little while to get help. So keep that in mind. So basically our story, we follow our main character. Her name is Maddie. She lives by herself in this house, and her goal while she's out there is to kind of try to find the piece that she's looking for to finish writing the novel that she's currently working on. And you know, they kind of express that she's had a lot of difficulties with it. She's gone through a recent breakup, and she's away from her family, and there's just a lot of changes happening in her life. So you know, there's kind of a lot happening mentally for her right now too. I read that because she is deaf in the movie, there's really not very much dialogue at all. I think they said that there was a total of 15 minutes of actual dialogue out of 70. So I didn't obviously know that before I watched it. If I had known that before I watched it, I think it may have actually made me not want to watch it as much, just because I find that I think it would be difficult for me to watch. I thought it would be difficult for me to watch a movie with very little talking involved. But again, Mike Flanagan has a way of still bringing, like, it could be dead silent, but there's still kind of like a noise happening in your head because of the way that he shoots things. So that was never an issue to me when watching the movie. I'm glad I didn't know about it beforehand, because I do think it really would have impacted my decision to watch it. So anyway, our storyline is, so Maddie's out in, you know, her house. She's making dinner, just a normal night, it seems. And it's dark outside. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we see a character that we very quickly met previously. It's her neighbor who had just kind of come to say hi. She's now like being thrown up against her glass door that's in her kitchen, and she's bloody and she's bleeding. She's terrified, and you can't see at first what she's running from, but this is how our intruder ends up kind of figuring out that Maddie is deaf. So basically, you know, he throws her up against the window, and Maddie is not fazed at all. She does not hear it, obviously. I guess it wasn't strong enough for her to be able to pick up on the vibrations of it. And so she's just going about making dinner, cleaning up. And our intruder, that's just probably what I'm gonna call him, the intruder. He does end up murdering the neighbor, like directly in front of Maddie, but not once does she ever notice. And he takes it as an opportunity to basically play cat and mouse with her. So he thinks, you know, oh, because she's deaf, this will be an easy game for me. I'll, you know, totally be able to just, you know, mess around with her and then do whatever I please. But that's where the fun part comes in, is just because she's deaf doesn't mean that she's not capable of survival. She's able to use all of her other heightened senses to get through the situation. You know, we see a couple different times where he's able to break in, but she kind of is able to set it up where she's going to be aware if it happens. There's just a lot of really cool aspects that she personally does that I think just, I don't want to obviously speak for a community that I'm not a part of, but I do think that it really portrayed being deaf very well. You know, she's a badass at the end of the day, and her disability doesn't keep her back from anything. And honestly, I kind of think that's a lot of the point of the movie itself. But you know, we go through the whole story. I think her ex-boyfriend ends up showing up because she wasn't, I think, answering her phone. Like, he had cut off the internet, like electricity, like she wasn't able to get in touch with anybody, so it was concerning. And he ends up coming and kind of saving the day to an extent. But you know, we end up seeing in the end, like she makes it through. It's a close call, like she barely makes it through, but she's able to kill the intruder. And which I have to say, I don't know the actor who played him, but he did a really, really good job at being gross. The only way I can describe this guy is just like icky and gross, and I don't want to talk to you or touch you or be around you, which just sounds terrible for the actor, but that's, I mean, I think that was the point, and he did a really good job. So this is a compliment all in all. But I think that it made me so uncomfortable to see him as a character. So good job there. But I guess you could say that we have a bit of a happy ending. I mean, she makes it through. We don't really know 100% what happens after the fact, but you know, the authorities arrive and she's saved and this and that. So overall, I really enjoy the movie. I don't feel like it's something that's talked about enough. And it really should be. I highly recommend it. If I was going to grade it out of 10, I'm probably going to give it a 7. There's probably a couple things that we could change here and there. I think that maybe character-wise, we could have done a little bit better with the developing, but I mean, the story itself, I think, was a great concept. Maybe with some tinkering, it would have been like a 9 for me, but the 7 is not bad at all. This is a movie that I don't mind throwing on and just having on in the background, and then stopping and being distracted by it every couple of minutes. So yeah, 7 out of 10. But I hope you enjoyed hearing me rant about Hush. And talking about this has actually made me feel like I want to talk about the Hill House series, but there's so much going on with that. And if you haven't seen it, really, you should go watch it. It's just, I didn't think a TV show would bring the level of horror that it did. Like, I just didn't think it was possible. So this is just me talking about how much I like Mike Flanagan at this point, but highly recommend both. Hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you've seen it or if you're gonna see it and how you feel about it, and let me know if there's any other movies you'd like to see me talk about in the future, because, you know, I always appreciate the suggestions. So all right, till next week. Bye guys.